Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. What year is it? It is the, I don't know, what year, what is the Chinese year? I don't know. How you doing there, Alex? Good to have you. And, we have a Korean fellow. I don't know how you pronounce that, but hello. If I knew how to pronounce it, I would. But hello. Do hope you're all well. I'm gonna go ahead and get the game up here then. There we are. Still need a second screen. That'd be nice. But one day. Would just be convenient. super convenient. It's hard to go back. Once you've had a taste of that sweet dual screen magic, it's hard. It is hard to go back. I do hope you're all doing well, though. What you guys been up to lately? Has been a bit of an impromptu hiatus, hasn't it? Ah, the Year of the Ox, okay. Fine, yeah. No one says no to parfait. I don't know, like, sometimes, like, I kinda, like, I recognise... I swear to God, I recognise where that comes from, but I cannot remember. But it sounds familiar. Okay. So, there isn't a sweep of Luganville today. What we're wanting to go ahead and do is essentially move up 2 squadrons to Kira. Oh, there we go, that's good then, so we can just occupy that, and that's handy. The reason being so we can have a 1-2, so essentially a sweep from 1 squadron, which then rests, and then a sweep from a 2nd squadron while the 1st is resting, and so on and so forth. Oh cool, yeah, the Tiger. That's pretty ballsy. Okay. I don't think we have anything major as such. Kunming will be likely attacked tomorrow. Probably will order that attack tomorrow once the fatigue has gone down, disruption's gone down. Which shouldn't take too long actually with HQ being there. Them being in China, there's no malaria, there's no cold zone, so they do recover fairly quickly. As quickly as can be expected with enemies about, really. Right, so seeing additional ships. Now I am really quite curious if he's actually still been up F8 actually. Seeing quite a few ships there. Allied sub there, which we traditionally do see. He has started to move more towards Japan. There we go, that's good. Very nice. How you doing there, Red? Good to have you. Ooh, snooped by Allied heavy bomber at Woodlark. That's interesting. I'm trying to remember if we put them back to cap now. We were looking at the settings of the zeros of Woodlark, and I'm trying to recall if we actually put them back on cap now. Oh god, no. Nothing much so far. I'll take a look at the reports of these afterwards. So, we're just a couple days now from taking Moresby. Just wait on the division to arrive over here. How you doing there, one? Good to have you, my friend. It looks like he might be using B-17s then. So we are seeing level bomber, which is interesting. He might be using them for reconnaissance. Well, naval search, that sort of thing. Okay, so still been up over there. He's definitely put a lot of assets into that area. Okay, so we've had a certain main body report. I think that usually comes about from capital ship. Okay. I was a little worried about it because I can't recall what the settings of Woodlark were. We were looking at the potentially using them for long range, and I can't recall if we'd actually taken them off and put a cap back up there, so... Whew, that's good. I was like slightly worried about there could be like a P-17 raid coming in. I'd be like, shit, okay, that's good then. How you doing, Maxi? Good to have you. Yeah, BB BCs. I mean, it would make sense that obviously we do have the BBs around Tulagi. Tulagi longer. We do have Yamashiro. She is about a day out. She should be about a day out from Naval at this point now. I think we should have had an additional division arrive here. The tanks that were there will be now here today. I mean, if it continues to move that unit over this way, I can see him probably doing that so it actually returns to Chungking, because he's probably going to get more out of it than it being just there. But in fairness, if it makes it easier to actually control the rear area, it actually, I suppose there's some mutual benefit. He gains like 200 AV here, that's actually somewhat valuable, and then he... But then we have the ability to control this area without worrying then, really. Yeah, what we're doing here in China is we are bringing the actual armoured vehicles up over here. We're going to have the armour launcher attack supported by artillery. But that's going to take some time. I'm assembling all the armour that we have, essentially. There's a regiment on ship. That's a couple days out from Canton. They can then drive north, take the rail up over there to Tuyun, and then they can drive up over that way. We do have armoured regiments coming from the north as well. Should be too far out. It depends, really. I mean, the method I'm going to try is with the armoured vehicles. And that is going to be quite an interesting one. Because if we can actually... Now, principally, I'd want to take out supply there. But if we could actually take out a level of fortification, then it becomes significantly easier the time afterwards. So it could be that we actually are able to accelerate things to a degree. But the way I'm looking at it is, even if it's still... Let's say that it takes 6 months to take Chungking. Let's say 6 months. If the method I would like to try works... Even if it still took 6 months to do with just the armor doing that, you know, taking down to 4 levels. And if we were able to actually really retain the majority of our infantry, engineers, all that sort of thing there, I think that'd still be worthwhile. I think that'd still be a good thing. Because in some ways, the time we'd save would come afterwards. Like, as long as if we had the divisions, they're going to take damage, but if we were to attack Chungking with level 6 forts, we're going to have a lot more damage than, I don't know, let's say we attack Chungking even with level 5, level 3, level 4, you know what I mean? That sort of thing, really. So it's the time that you save in having to rebuild the divisions I'm probably looking towards. But we'll see. So 178 here today. We're up to 5,000 here today then, so yep, we are going up. Now, he does have a lot of troops, but the thing is, it's just, a lot of these troops are just not that good. I mean, they come back as raw AV, but we haven't seen the amount of guns change there at all. Ours obviously does increase. I just went for a bombardment with the artillery today. I was just quite curious just to see how much of a difference it makes. And supply-wise as well. I just wanted to see what the difference was there. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Well, this is not the full amount of guns. This is just the independent artillery. Like, I mean, this is it. They have 36 guns there, and that's cavalry brigade. They will attack tomorrow. Then these tanks, and essentially most of these things will then move on towards Chungking there. And again, they have more guns than Chungking. Right, attack over here to finish off the second to last holdout in the Philippines. Just, I think that's the move then to take them. Yeah, to take that, and they surrender. That's good. They should have been dealt with a long time ago. I just frankly didn't have... I just didn't really put the men in to finish it off, but it's now there. Yeah, so that's a cool 155 there. So 2259, that's good. Adds up to the VP. We actually take 0 losses, which is nice. That makes that easy. This base I do not need to actually garrison. I do have a brigade. No, it's either a... I think it's a regiment. I think it's a mixed regiment. But it's a bit larger. We did drop these guys so we had to finally take this FN island. We couldn't take it via ship, so we finally did it via paratrooper. So at least that one's finally bloody gone. But imagine now if there's like all these PBYs there. That'd be hilarious, but alas no. Yeah, exactly. And we do take Endeni up to size 1 airfield, man. That's good. I don't know where Medan is, but it's up there in forts. Yeah, so Endeni is now a size 1 airfield. And now it'd be interesting to see what happens next. Obviously, we want to build that up to size 2 and just keep building up that area, really. And the Philippine troops are gone. I mean, the actual... I'm not too sure. Maybe. I've never really played as the Allies, so I can't say for sure. They may be potentially tied to certain centers. Well, actually, no. It might be that they just have a set number of replacements, perhaps. Oh, yes, I think Yamato arrived. Yeah, there we go. Yamato has arrived. I was actually distracted there, yes. The great battleship Yamato has arrived here at last today. I was distracted there. But I think the actual Filipino troops will have like probably like a pool of replacements, and they may not just be able to draw in replacements then afterwards, considering that the Philippines is gone. Right, so we'll just reopen this in a second then, and then take a look at the turn. So, quiet, but quiet is never a bad thing unless you want something to happen. And for us, we didn't have anything planned here today, so it wasn't a bad thing. Not a good thing either, but not a bad thing. Alright, so take a look. I do like these new splash screens. I think they're really cool, actually. Gives you a sense of the scale there, doesn't it? You can really understand why a task force can take up such a large amount of space. Right, so we'll take a look at the usual. So, B5s and PPYs. So both ops there. But that's pretty good. PPYs are 2 engines, I think, actually. Okay. Yeah, +1. Ship sunk today. I don't think there were any that we know of. Okay. So, a light day all round, then. Right, over here, then. Now, I do want to go ahead and get some reconnaissance over there. I can imagine he's unloading engineers there. Right. So, seeing 17 fighters there. So, the number hasn't increased all that much, then, apparently. That is interesting. Again, he can only have so much that he can throw out there. Okay. They might have 3 engines, actually. You could be right about that. I think, oh, is it the one where they have, like, the engine in the wings and then above? I could be wrong, actually. But you could be, yeah, you could be right, actually. I might have been thinking of a different variant, perhaps? Or have they all had 3 engines? Can't recall now. Yeah. No, wait. We've got 2 engine... Yeah, 2 engine. I think there is a version that did have a 3rd engine, actually. I'm trying to think. I know what you mean. I just can't remember which one that actually is now. I'm sure there's a 3 engine one. Yeah. I'm sure there is one. The capital ships. Well... It's hard to say. We don't know what is there and what isn't. Apparently we have a destroyer escort spotted, but we don't know all that much. We would have had more reconnaissance. Well, we would have had more sightings, but we've had the submarines actually in Rabaul for the most part. Being refueled, repaired, that sort of thing, really. Okay. We've also noticed a very interesting behavior. Like, these tankers over here can actually act as oilers in port over here, which is rather interesting, because we did have... not that. We had 107 here actually draw fuel directly from the tankers, and it came from within the actual tanker's hold, rather than having to be unloaded. So we consider potentially having them go ahead and move to Lunga to refuel the Service Task Force, but well, we decided to go for unloading the fuel over here at Talagi, because then we can actually have our submarines take up fuel from that, which is actually really quite good. Yeah. So... yeah, well, they're actually fueled here, then it seems. I-20... she's a C1, so she's our midget carrier sub, I do believe. Is she my midget sub carrier? Let's double check. Yes. Yes, she is. Okay, cool. I'll double check if I actually want to take that midget sub from there to Lagi. But it would be quite convenient to get another midget sub down there quickly enough. Well, we did see the British carriers over this way, did we? A couple days ago, but we haven't seen them for a little while. He's gone in a different direction. I expected him to... I kind of expected a little bit of caution, to a degree. He's a cagey player. But I think he has... I don't know, he probably may be looking for additional targets. There's not one man. These are not the Chitons. These are midget submarines. They have... I don't think it was one man. I think it might have been a small, very, very small crew. Maybe like 2 or 3 or something of that nature. But I can't recall, actually. Something I have to read up on. But as far as I'm aware, I think it was a larger crew than just a single man. The Chitons had a single man, I believe it was. And they tried to drop in a midget sub. Well, what I'd like to go ahead and do is essentially group up the C1 class of submarines. Our submarines are not in the best state right now. We do have, actually, let's take a look. You can be quite amused. We do have 15 submarines over here. And that's not including the ones that are in repair shipyard. It would have been greater, but we've had a lot of issues. Yeah, so you can see that we do have a number over here in repair shipyard. Oh yeah, they're in, yeah, pier side, so they're fine. They're recovered now. Hey, Dunahakon, good to have you, my friend. So let's take a look then in what we have in terms of submarine class here. Right, so we do have a C1 over here. She's going to be fully repaired shortly enough. She's going to then go ahead and actually help in carrying midget submarines forward. We have only about, I think about 5 C1 class submarines, actually. There's not a lot. And a lot of them are actually damaged at the moment. So, let's see. I wish you told you class here, that'd be handy. That's a J1. I need some sort of defining characteristic of a class. Wrong one. I always click the wrong bloody one. Right. C1. Oh, the 23 knots is 14. Okay, 23, 14, something I can look for. Let's take a look. Speed. Oh, well, that kind of helps, but 14 knots. But obviously they have to be fully fueled up. But they should be... maybe down. No. I wish it sorted by class. It kind of does. So we have... right, so... I might just click on the same one here. Is it down? Is it I-24? Right, so I-24... clicking again, goddamn this small. Yeah. They're kind of annoyingly... right. Oh, fuck me. There's a couple of them. There's a couple of them. I can't remember the actual names of them, but there are a couple. And I wish there was an easier way to actually show where they all are, but I believe we have one of Rabaul, potentially 2 of Rabaul. There is one over here at Manila, I do believe, in Shipyard. I bet that was painful to watch. Yeah, there's I-18. So, can I speed up her repairs, or does it make a difference? No, it doesn't make a difference. She's 5 days and she'll be ready to go. What I'm going to go ahead and do then is we're going to get the C1 class of submarines actually grouped up. I think there's about 5. We'll have them all grouped up and essentially have them just drop off like 5 midget subs and then carry on with their duties or things of that nature. Midget subs are not cheap in a sense. They're cheap in the fact that they cost supply, which is it's one of those where arguably can say it's cheap, but it's not really. But they do cost about 4 VPs each. So they're not the lightest thing to throw away, but they can certainly pack a punch if they can get in there. Sub-losses, yeah, sure. The Chitons, oh, they're later on, I do believe. What am I looking at? Sub-losses, okay. Sub-losses is an interesting one. We know ours. The biggest one we had was the I-15. I think one of them accidentally went into Midway. No, I think one of them actually went into Pearl Harbor by accident and got hit by a mine, but I think they might have survived, actually. Yeah, so you can see these guys are 3, that's a 4. So the actual submarines we've lost, I-171, I-124, I-5, J1, B1/2, KDA6, and KRS. So we haven't lost a C1 class, which is good. When it comes to the actual allied submarines, it's very touch and go. Let's see what class... okay, I-16, I-18, I-20, I-22. Okay. That's really good to know. There's parts of this game that you wish were improved. That would it'd be really handy if I could take a look at information like that. Just far easier. Right, so... Where the fuck are they? Oh, is it because the ship's under repair as well? It might be because they're under repair. We have I-16 there. I-18. I-20 is probably active then. I-22 is not there. Okay. Well, there's two then, I-16 and I-18. We've got I-20 here. I-22 and I-24. Yeah, okay. She's a Raval. Thanks, Alex, that's really helpful. She's over here then, actually. Oh no, it's a B1. Oh, no, it's I-21, sorry. I clicked the wrong one, didn't I? Whoops, that's my bad. This font is small, and I'm getting old. She's heading back then, so that's I-22. Yep, that's the one that's... Actually then, okay. Oh, well, there we go, there's I-20. I didn't realise we actually had her there, but she's there, so that's handy then. They're just very similarly damaged, actually. But yeah, we're eventually going to have them grouped up. What we're doing at the moment is dropping off midget submarines over here at Endeni. You can see that we do have quite a few submarines over here. The idea is, just for the most part, if it does come in for a bombardment, we are able to then potentially put in some downship ships that do that. It's a surface defense that doesn't need to be on the surface, if that makes sense. We do have mines over here. You can't see them, but there's about 120, 150 mines, something like that. Building up the airfield over here. So we did have our fast transports over here, so they've just moved in. They can now move out, which is excellent. So we have dropped off additional construction companies there, which is good. We do have additional assets to move down there. They're moving up to Kirakira, but eventually we'll start moving things forward as we get the opportunity to do so. But it is interesting. I mean, this is going to be quite a contentious area, which is rather intriguing. I mean, there will be some kind of battle of the Coral Sea. We kind of have had a battle of the Coral Sea, but it wasn't one with carriers versus carriers. It was one of carriers versus land-based aircraft. And weather fucked us as per usual. Really did. Let me check what these guys were. Okay, so there was some cap. Okay, there was some cap. Not a lot of cap. I'd forgotten to change these settings back. What we were considering doing then. And it's actually rather interesting then. So they're now spotted, which is intriguing. So he's definitely changing tack. Yeah, he's definitely changing his operations out here. We were considering moving forward to bombard Cairns. We were actually going to go to a point about here. But the issue was that we didn't have enough supply over here to use drop tanks. It appears that, yes, we now appear to have enough, which is good. But he's running naval search. Okay. So he's obviously spotted the cruisers out here then. We'll see how that changes. I still feel that eventually he may have a move up this way along the actual Aussie coast and attempt to take advantage of this situation here. That's what I eventually feel will happen. It just seems like a good option for him in a position where there's not too many good options. I'm not... Well, it depends really. We are going to finish off China. When China is finished, then we will go ahead and decide. I'm not... Oh, he's moving now, which is interesting, but they could just be moving that way. Yeah, 2 units there. We do have a small unit out here. Shy of 200 men. Shy of 170 men, really. Which is more of an outpost than if anything. Right, AP's there. I don't know why he even uses APs here. It just seems like a risk. It seems like he has confidence, though. But no, as far as it goes, it's like I'd rather have like a full-scale invasion than just a small jaunt into India or elsewhere, really. We'll have to make that decision when we do finish off over here, really. Okay, so we do have another 140 guns over here then, and a lovely command HQ over here, which brings us a good deal of 360 support there. I don't know if motorized support is worth more than traditional support. I'm not too sure on that one. Right, set all to march. Yeah, they're all in movement mode there, so that's fine. Yep, so they'll be moving to Chungking. I do have 23rd Air, which is marching that way. Tank, 10th Tank Regiment is moving that way too. That's good. Right, it's complaining about supply over here, and I think that's just due to the fact that I can pretend. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start construction there. Don't really need that. They're still moving out over here, then, which is good. Okay. I mean, if he's gonna go for it, then hell yeah, you know. I'm not sure he could move it into that hex, or I could be moving into that hex. Changsha, we haven't really done anything with, to be honest. He did attack us at one time, which is actually really awesome. I'm glad he did do that in a sense. They've been recovering since that day, really. They didn't lose all that much, which is mostly disabled, but yeah. They've been recovering. But there's a HQ over here. It's only a small one, really. It just helps more so for the actual benefits of the command. Yeah. I'm moving a unit over here to cut this hex side off, and eventually we'll just have it actually fully surrounded then. Right, 8th Armoured Car. Moved 8th Armoured Car complete there just to make sure we have some sort of a brick wall besides there. But ignore that one. Right, do you have the artillery there? How are these guys looking? Yeah, they're fine. They can go ahead and attack. 5th recovered nicely. Right, we'll attack there. Nice. I could have the armor set to this position, but I'm not. Especially because some of these have some pretty good prep. That's going to become quite important in the future. What are we looking at here? Yeah, they're marching strategy chunking. But they're going to stop over here at Kunming anyway. Right. So I do have 51st/A, which is heading to Kunming. That's going to be the temporary garrison. 24th is going to march over here to the north. Kunming, I expected Kunming to have fallen already, but Kunming would likely fall shortly enough. It was, I think we'd knocked it down to level 2 forts, or it's either level 1 or level 2 forts. Something of that nature. They have about 200 odd AV, but I mean there's 1186. It's likely to fall tomorrow, but it doesn't mean that it will. It may be another day or two anyway. We'll see on that one. But shortly enough it will fall. Right. Malta Battalion, HQ's moving north there. This RF Gun Battalion. This is eventually going to head into Burma, I believe. It depends, really. But likely Burma, just as we'll likely see more armoured fighting vehicles from the Allies out this way. I'd wager. I'm still surprised he hasn't used his bombers, really. It is surprising. Take a look at the ops report. We'll take a look at the Yamato shortly enough, actually. That's going to be really cool. Yep, moving forces around there. Portland expands to size 2. Okay, so we didn't see too much there. 15th Tank Regiment, some devices have been upgraded at Kueyang. That's cool. It actually will be fine. I agree, if I could have something else, but even then, it's... Like, the Yamato is such a ridiculously potent tool. It just needs to be used in the correct circumstances. So, like, the difficulty for it was the fact that it didn't have air cover. But it's one of those, really, isn't it? It's like, what would you rather have if you're in a surface engagement? And I'd rather have Yamato. Would I rather have more carriers? Yes. But no. I'd rather have a lot of other things, really, in a sense. Probably more cruisers. Or even more destroyers, but probably more cruisers. Or just more of lots of other things, really. But I do like Yamato. I think she's bitchy, as I could say. She's eventually going to be bound to head to Singapore. She arrives at Nagasaki. Yeah, there we are. If I can find her. Or is it, where the hell did she arrive again? I forgot where she arrives. Oh, Hiroshima. How you doing there, Judy? There we are, at long last. Yeah, she doesn't have a great deal of endurance. That's the problem. Yeah, pretty much. She should play a greater role in this game. There's a number of things that we could do that obviously weren't really... I don't know how plausible it was, but for example, like, we could have the pizza over here changed out to a Jake's, which is also going to be greater range there. Lots of little things you can do like that. I'm looking forward to giving her the radar upgrade. That'd be excellent. With radar, she becomes relatively modern then. I mean, she's pretty much modern, I guess, then, at that point. But yeah, she's pretty nice. 405 belt, 212. It's amazing to actually see her. It feels like it's been forever. But yeah, she is here now, and those guns will eventually be put to use. Just need to keep her alive. You can see she's fuel hungry. Speaking of BBs then, we do have Nagato. Yeah, she's doing relatively well over here. A guidance. I don't know if, like, radar guidance fire control system is represented. Maybe it's just represented by radar. I've honestly no idea on that one. Go fish on that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if she ever got that, but I don't know all that much about the Yamato. So again, go fish. Right, they're heading that way. Okay. I just need a small garrison there. Yep, so 6th Division has arrived here. I'm not sure if it's worth... I don't know. It's one of those, isn't it? I'd have to actually ask somebody maybe a little bit more familiar with the ground model. Is it worth having the divisions use their artillery, or is it better to just, like, not? I'm not sure. So now have a surplus of supply. And having supply in Hex is obviously quite useful. It does allow a lot of other things to happen. So I'm not too sure. Additional mortars there. Yeah, just waiting on the armor to arrive. But these guys are looking pretty good. I mean, we're now entirely above 400 there on the average AV, which is quite nice. So they will be recovering. Yes, and they do have more than adequate support, which is very handy. Obviously, that will increase as we do have more support coming in as well. These additional guns coming in here too. We're still due the Philippine guns. They're moving north there. Right. Yeah, some additional guns there. They can dock. They're going to march up over here to Kukong. And then they're going to rail into the interior. Either or, I suppose. I mean, we don't take any return damage, so I don't know. It's a big mortar, 150 mortar. It's pretty big. Right, not you, that'll be that one then, yeah. 8th Tank Regiment. He's moving east then. Interesting. We do have our fuel moving out. Is it this task force or is it another one? F4 32. Where the fuck is 32? Ah, yes. So this is one that will be heading down to Ramalva. Pakoi is just going to stay Chinese because it's one of those of, I need to garrison that. And it's not a problem right now. I did send a Naval Guard, but it's a larger corps than what the Naval Guard were. So honestly, it just doesn't make a difference. There's no industry there. There's resources, but there's no industry, so that resource just continues to collect, really. And, yeah, he's not being a problem right now. So I'm just going to ignore it for the time being. Eventually we'll come and get it, but for now, it will be dutifully ignored. Okay. Well, we've upped our ASW game in fairness. It looks as if there's a bit of an exodus of the USN or Allied submarines in this area. I mean, we are running quite a lot of actual naval search out this way, ASW and naval search. So it looks as if he has vacated this area. Which is good. If we can actually finally open up the Maxar Strait, that is going to make our lives a lot easier. There's a reason why he's had them here. Quite a slow burn, but it did start to sting a little bit. It did make it a little bit more difficult for us. But as he moves, then obviously so will our ASW, and we can certainly move faster than he can, and certainly put the pain in there. So, for example, when we had these B5 and Kates, yeah, and also we don't see an attack here today, but you can see that these guys are pretty damn good at 70 ASW there and plus. And obviously when they attack, it's 250 kilogram bombs there, which can certainly do some damage. But yeah, as he moves, then that's okay. I swear to God there's like an allied unit here. I can remember seeing one moving there, but I've not seen for a very long time. I did that, Stanley. Ah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I would play a future play by email. I do wonder... I don't know. I'd like to play... I don't know, it depends, really. I'd like to play a fairly historical scenario. But it would be nice to maybe have some additional aircraft. You know, not so much the, like, written on a napkin sort of designs. But, you know, the designs that were in production or something of that nature. I don't know. I've got the books I need to do the reading. I haven't really read on the area. At the moment, my reading is predominantly aimed at the English Civil War and, well, modern Chinese history, as that's what I'm doing at uni at the moment. So we'll get there eventually. We'll get there eventually. A couple of years, give me that time. Let's see. Beyond that, then, is there anything else of note? Lots of things always going on at San Francisco. Activity at Midway. Interestingly enough, we actually did note... yeah, so there's actually fighters over here Wake, which is interesting. I don't know why. To me, that signals a passive defense, a shift to the passive. It's essentially like our strategy over here at Mars. It's one of those of like, okay, I want to commit something, but I don't want to commit a lot. Oh, I forgot to tell them to head elsewhere. Maybe I have them moving there. I'm going to have these guys... I meant to take them when they were over here at Tinian and move them down there, so it's a bit of a wasted day, but that's what happens when you forget at night. So I'm going to have them shifted. Now, truck is Jungle Rough and has, I think, level 3 forts or possibly higher already, actually. But we'll have them move to truck, just to make sure we secure truck. I meant to take them from Tinian. Maybe, but it's like... I don't know. They won't have that much range, to be honest. I mean, even Tongi is outside the range of most allied fighters, I think, at this time. Unless he's using, like, lightnings. But then if you're using lightnings over here to Wake, it's like, okay. Distance is both a ally and a foe out here. Depends what you're looking for in that day. Okay. I would like to get a natural small garrison of Tongi. Maybe like an independent SLF or something of that nature. But in fairness, maybe it'd just be better to have an independent SLF or some sort of unit over here at Naval. I would like to have a stronger garrison there. The reason being that it is potentially vulnerable, it is potentially able to be taken, and I really would prefer that to not happen. Atoll. We do thankfully have 70, yeah, we're moving into size 3 forts. I'd just like to have like an okay unit. Not a lot, just an okay unit. In time, we will move additional naval guards out to these islands. Yeah, looks like they've begun the process of recovering already. I think we were at 120-ish yesterday, so they have begun to recover. And yesterday was a day of attack, so they recovered quite nicely in that time, actually. fairly well. Alright, 22, 23, 32. So they're actually making fairly good progress there. So we're not too far out now. And we'll have the division there. The army HQ is just going to remain here. It doesn't need to actually move forward. And in fairness, while it's actually here, it does aid these guys in having that additional support. So that's pretty good. I do wonder if that actually helps someone tracking through here. I do wonder. Okay, so we do have supply over here at Rabal. Sorry, not Rabal. From Rabal. Unloading here at Woodmark. We did shift up a 0 group over here to Tagula. The idea was that they could actually run long-range cap from Tagula to help cover a force. We were thinking about Buna and Tagula. We considered Milne Bay, but Milne Bay will take too long to actually get to size 2 airfield, unfortunately. But we'll see. It's an interesting situation. Obviously, with him running reconnaissance now, it does up the stakes to some degree. But it's interesting that he wasn't. So I do wonder what his game is there, actually. We do have 0 coverage in this area. Well, fighter coverage in general in this area is pretty good, actually. Yeah, I can imagine. Not nice. Okay. Not too far from size 3 port van at Shortlands. Nice. Building another port over here at Carter is going to take a lot longer. Obviously, the fact we do only have the 12 engineers here, but it'll take time. Ah, yes, okay. You're one of those units, aren't you? I'll have to take a look at where we want to get those moving, actually. If we want to get them moving anywhere at all, to be honest. The engineers are handy, the naval support's very handy, in fact. Just depends really what would be a good place to send them. So this is what I mentioned earlier on. I do have this... Oh, it's a mixed brigade, not a mixed regiment. Okay. Yep, so that's moving over here to Wankau. That is going to take up the actual garrison over here to Wankau. I'm going to then have the 67th and the Kore 3rd SLF actually moved out then of China. Maybe use them for garrison duties over here, but I feel like I might actually have enough in the Naval Guard that are present in the area. I just need to obviously divide them in such a way to actually get them to fill the garrisons properly. Another 2 Naval Guard units would be quite helpful. We will then have another 2 over here. We'll leave one over here as a garrison, but then the other 2 will head out elsewhere. The division will move out, of course, once the job is done. Yeah, I'd like to get reconnaissance here. Right, so we are seeing naval search out here, which makes sense. What about though? Not here? Ah, yes. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, for example, we have Kore 2nd SLF, which is a 60 AV unit, and over at this base here at Zamboanga, we only need 40, so I'd like to be able to move 20. It may be that I just use transportation aircraft, or just maybe like small ships and just try and parcel them out like in that fashion. How are they going over here then? I don't know how long they've been in strategic. They might have only just moved to strategic, so we'll see about that. And maybe they would just have to bring additional ships over here to pick them up. Right, there is no garrison required there, which is very handy. Base was obviously damaged there, but that doesn't really matter at all. Yeah, they had no supply there. Right, so they can get ready to move out. We have size 2 port there, size 1 port there, size 1. So they can just go here, we'll pick them up from there later on. Yeah, 32 centimeters are pretty large guns, which is why we're having a lot of problems. I didn't realize how much of a problem they would have been, but they are quite a fucking problem. I think I might just have to move additional ships, and I can do that. We do have a number over here, so I probably will shift them down there and get that done. Alright, so it's a big old, big old fucking potato, man. Big old potato. Hot potato. Not one you want to catch. Okay. In Java, well, we've been building up fortifications over here. Oh, not Bandung. I thought it was Bandung when we built fortifications, but Bandung has been repaired. Yes, I think I will begin building there. Do we have any engineers? No, we don't have any engineers. That's probably why I haven't begun building them. Right. These kois over here are moving towards Surabaya. They'll be about 3 days, I guess. So short enough, we'll be able to go ahead and... there we go. So we do have these kois. I'm going to get these kois moved out of here for the most part. We could do with maybe a couple of actual... a few additional aviation units. I'd like to get these kois moved out so we can actually use them elsewhere. Kitabatai is ready yet. It's just, what is the task, essentially? We're not that far before we can start to upgrade the Shokaku and Zuikaku. So the Zuikaku will remain. Then they'll upgrade. Said upgrade will take 21 days. But that will be quite good. It will give us that all-important radar then. Not the best radar in the world, but it will give us quite the... not even an advantage, it's an advantage compared to what we had beforehand. But it puts us more in line with parity. But I think parity is not even quite the right word there. I'm just going to take a... let's take a Lexington class. So yes, they do have 2 radar units there. There's a small range, and probably imagine a great resolution, but certainly having it would be quite nice. How you doing there, Squirrel? Well, the thing is, it's like we don't currently know where his cars are. We have a rough idea that they're probably somewhere in this area. It's been a couple days since we last saw them, so they could be somewhere in this sort of area here. And you could think about transports. Well, what we'd like to go ahead and do... We are going to shift the Karga and Unyo. What we're going to go ahead and do, though, is we do have this group over here, which is moving towards Rabaul, ultimately. You can see there comes some additional supply there too, which is very handy, and fuel. But yeah, these group of oilers are moving towards Rabaul. Importantly, though, we do have the Kamakura Maru and Kunikawa Maru. And what we'll do then is wait for them to arrive down here at Rabaul in a couple of days, and then we'll have Karga, Unyo, and a small task force move out, and then move into the Dutch East Indies. Due to this area being quite dangerous for submarine activity, I'd rather have them move with the AKs, and obviously, it's like mutual cover, isn't it? Like, they protect each other, so on and so forth. Like, the cars can actually have their own ASW running, and obviously we'll have the ASW from the actual AVs. But yeah, essentially just make sure they're safe and protected. Thank God this base is finally taken. It is a massive pain in the ass to take. Really quite annoying. Evil days. But yeah, eventually we will want to go ahead and maybe have Karga and Unyo move out to the Indian Ocean. But that one's going to depend, really. Depends where his cars are, to be honest. Right, number of submarines there. They're moving out. We do have a supply here. That's going to be moving out to Endeni. Gaining more supply down here at Endeni would be quite nice. We don't want to have too much where if it was to be bombarded that we'd lose it, but we also want to have enough so we can just run operations out there, really. For the most part, we're relatively safe in a sense versus bombardment, because these guys are, well, they're float planes. It is a case of, well, if you bombard, they're generally not going to be hit. Yes, I do use hard-sign music because it's copyright-free, and I love that. That's fantastic. We get the we get the best of both worlds. It's been a couple days, and I forget how to actually cast. If you can call this casting. It's certainly not casting at net, but you know what I mean. Let's try and snare some hearts out here. Aye. Alright. The good news then is we're having some fuel over here to Lagi. That fuel will increase as well. Obviously, we want to get that moved down to Lunga next, I believe. Or even potentially Woodlark. But I think I might even use AK to take some fuel out here to Woodlark and refuel said cruisers. But that changes a few things out here, actually. It's interesting. So he does have a 21 fighters, 56 bombers, 56 auxiliaries, apparently. I just really wonder what it could be for. I mean, it could be that that's a hell of a lot of PBYs and is intended to potentially launch some sort of naval attack, which would be rather scary, but who the heck knows? Right. We do have cover at the base, it's just obviously have an adequate cover. We'll be reforming the 54th Chutai shortly enough to have the last element over here at Baal. Just building this one up over here at Baal. You can see it can't take on replacements nor reserves right now, but shortly we'll be able to. And then we'll form it up. We'll have about, I don't know, how many can you actually have fly in a group? So yeah, we'll have 2 squadrons of about 30 Nicks. Obviously there won't be just 30, there'll be more than that, but that's the amount that will actually fly. Obviously having reserves is a good thing. But they're going to play a nice, important role in this area. That's interesting. Yes, if we wanted to, we could even potentially use them in ASW in the future, but there's other things I can do that, to be honest. We'd obviously have to change out the pilots to ASW, but they do have that capability by being able to actually carry bombs, of course. But it's something that we're probably not going to do. That'd only be in situations where there's really nothing else for them to do, and even in that situation, like, well, probably best off moving them somewhere else. But they can do it. But there's probably no reason to do it. Right. Need fuel down. Sorry, supply down there at Tarawa. I'd actually moved supply out there to Tarawa. Or did I? I moved it to these bases over here, in fact, not over here, in fact. What are we looking at? 22. So we're taking quite a bit of supply there. I don't want to take too much more. Right. They're moving that way. I can go ahead and take that supply there then. Yeah. Another 600 there will be fine. Good there, level 3 forts now. 30 AV here is not too bad for the base force. Yeah, it's got an okay amount of vessel left. Honestly, if there was to be a landing there, it wouldn't make all that much of a difference, but it certainly makes it a little bit tougher. The fort level really is what matters. That really will make the difference. Well, it won't really stop an invasion, it will just make... Well, it could potentially stop a small invasion, but anything larger, it just simply delays it, which is very important to have if you can delay it. Okay. Yeah, these guys are eventually moving out to Woodlark. You can see that we're covering, sorry, taking 2 aviation units out that way. They've got quite the journey to go. I mean, we might have them move direct. We've got them moving coastal now because it is fairly protected. And it might be that we just continue to move coastal and just accept the fact that is just simply the best way to go, really, perhaps. 73 hexes. Yeah, so that would cut it down to 57 going direct. 81 versus 57. So it's like adding another third onto the journey there, really. We'll see. I might have him move direct from Mindanao, or potentially from Leyte, something of that nature. It's just that we know we have seen submarine attacks over here. We certainly know that there are submarines around this area, and he does tend to avoid coastal waters. The reason being that he can actually be damaged. As you can see, he's got quite the number of submarines over here, but they're rendered pretty much impotent by that, to be honest. Coastal certainly safer. Right, we're unloaded some additional supply over here in China. Yeah. Giving back to the mainland. Ah, so 15th Tank Regiment had upgraded then. I wonder if they're taking on, might be the Type 97 there, I'm not too sure what else it could have taken on. Maybe even the Type 95, I'm not sure. Either way, they're moving. Do have a 23rd Tank Regiment there. 3rd Tank Regiment here. Yeah, so they'll get there. The Kashgar garrison is due to arrive in probably a week or two. Well, not about a week, maybe just over that. A little while anyway. But we have been benefiting from the conquest of northwest China really for quite some time now, which has been quite good. We're going to have a number of AK convoys moved up over to Port Arthur. We do have a continuous supply one, which has been carrying resources. I think they're over here at Fukuoka. They're on their way back now. What we're going to go ahead and do then is have that set to fuel. Yeah. So they're certainly not tankers, but they can carry it. The reason being that because we're going to make an actual... we're going to have that fuel, rather than take it home to the home islands, we're going to actually have it moved down to Rabaul. And essentially, we begin the war with about 300 odd K there, a truck or something of that nature. What we're going to try and do is essentially build up a couple 100K of fuel at Rabaul, and that would give us a solid amount of fuel for quite some time. Also, we'd still have a continuous convoys down to that area, but it would give us a good stockpile, a good buffer in a sense. Eventually, we'll want to replace fuel out here in the Marshalls and just elsewhere in general. But obviously, having like a good solid stockpile of fuel at Rabaul it allows operations to continue for quite some time. It potentially allows for maybe even offensive operations. I don't see there being many of those, but it is certainly a possibility. But in the meantime, to use what we actually have, and to consider that we do have 500,000 units of fuel over here at Port Arthur, we'll go ahead and have the convoy over there load that up. I'm curious to see how much they can actually carry, but it's pretty good. I mean, these are lemurs, so they can carry quite a bit, in fact. I will be intrigued. I think they can only carry about, what is it, 50% of their cargo hold as fuel? Something of that nature. I forget what it is. So we'll see about that one. They may carry fuel, sorry, they may carry oil as well, but I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll see what they load up. At the end of the day, it means that we do have additional fuel still coming to Japan. It just comes from a different source of this time. Alright, the Ichiki detachment, not too far out now. Yes, they'll arrive at Toyohara tomorrow then. That's good. These submarines are moving into Hakodate. They're going to go in there for repairs. I could do with some fuel over here at Pamashirojima, but eventually we'll get that going. Another unit over here at... Shasukotan. 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 That's not one I say often, Shasukotan. So yeah, Shasukotan will actually have a garrison there in the near future. Shikotan eventually as well. Just want to make sure these islands are actually garrisoned, even something small. It just means that it can't be taken. They're not great islands, but they could be built up. Yeah, and like having a capacity of 4 is actually pretty good. You can overbuild that to by an order of magnitude of 3. So, like, that could be a 6, that could be a 7 if you were to overbuild it. Honestly, that would give him the ability to use heavy bombs in the future, so we want to make sure he can't do that. So small things go a long way, really. Alright, it's been on the port over here. Construction the airfields. Oh, we're doing over here fortifications, okay. May want to go for an airfield. That's just a naval guard. Yeah, and that's got some pretty heavy fortifications there. Pretty heavy, in fact. We'll start building up the airfield now. 39% into that one. What kind of... Yeah, and it's wooded rough terrain, so you can imagine landing wooded rough, which is ×3, and then you've got level 4 forts as well. That's pretty nasty. That's pretty nasty. What's Paramashiro? Yeah, Paramashiro is 2. Most of the island chain here of Kuril Islands is at least level 2, level 3 in parts. If it was entirely level 3, that'd be great. Be great for defense, but no. Okay. We have almost used up the resource stockpile in Hokkaido. It's being moved out now. You can see, for example, let's see. I say almost used it up. I mean, there's like just shy of 1 million resources there at Hakodate. But these other bases over here are fairly dry now, which we have been drawing. You can see that we do draw from Kuro, and you can see that that is down to 22,000 there, shy of 23,000. Obviously, the majority is now over here at Hakodate, which is nice because it does mean that it's actually the safest one to draw from there, and the quickest, which is fantastic news. So yeah, drawing resources into Japan proper. If I take a look... resources... So in Osaka, Kyoto, just shy of 1.3 million. Well, you can say just shy, but yeah. Yeah, Hakodate there 900,000. So 30. Tokyo has 378, but obviously Tokyo does have quite a lot of heavy industry. You can see that we do. Let's take a look at requirements. That's probably a good way to take a look. Or maybe not. Oh, that's for resources. Let's see. Heavy industry. There we are. Yeah, you can see that Tokyo requires 54,600, I think, per day. So you can see that it does burn through a lot of resources per day. Yeah. Nearly 1 million units of oil there. We have just shy of 1 million units of fuel. 400,000 units of fuel and oil. Well, 439, 1.28 resources there. Yeah. 267. That's good. Let's take a look at fuel stockpiles then. It needs to be much larger. Much larger. But it will get there. It definitely will. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the R&D then. We should have the Helen in a couple days, actually. Literally a couple days. 35, that'll be advancing. You can see now it's actually advancing quite nicely. You can see where it will end up in... it's going to be a very late... Well, I mean, this is you can do the math now. I'm not going to do the math because I'm lazy, but it'll probably be around about... probably early 43 sometime, but it arrives for production, which is okay. Early would be nice, but hey. And the Helen has 1 more hex of range than the Sally, and it's also armoured. And I think faster? I can't recall. But it's armoured and has extra range. It's basically Sally, but better. Same bomb load, just obviously more survivable and a little bit more range than normal. Makes a difference, really. Oh, nice. We do have a Judy there that has gotten to 30. That's excellent, so that'll start the clock there. And it arrives later on this year anyway, so it doesn't make a massive difference. But yeah, that'll start to tick on then, which is at least something then. That's good. I'm looking very much forward to having D4Y1. hell of an aircraft. Yeah, Sally's getting there. Tojo's could have been further on by now, but hey. Oh shit, yes. I forgot about this. I forgot how many we had before. I don't know if we gained another one. I can't recall. I think we've gained another one. I don't know if I remember seeing 2 7s together, but I can't recall now. I'm just going to say that we gained another one. Probably not. That 5's... Yeah, these 5s are lagging behind a little bit. Oh, that 4's lagging behind. The 8 over here at Kyoto is doing great. I really want that to go up there. Aye. Looking good. Looking forward to getting the George. George would be a nice aircraft too. So, the Helen. We're going for the 2A Helen, which is that one. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the Helen that we're going for. 217 cruise, durability 40, armor 1 there. Yeah, same bomb load. Are you going to go for 3 army fighters at the same time? We'll have the Tojo in production shortly enough. Obviously the A6M8. We've got the Nick in production. So obviously we'll have Nick and Tojo in production. I think it's a George that replaces the Tojo. I'm not as familiar with army aircraft in fairness. Take a look. I forget which version of the George. Oh, that's navies. That's not carrier capable. Or maybe it just doesn't show up on here. Is it Tony? I forget which one it is. It must be carrier capable. Frank there. Tony. Let's take a look. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that it'll probably be the Tony that will eventually replace the Tojo. Yeah, armored. Very nice. And then eventually probably the Frank replace the Tony. Yeah. Ah, right, okay. And the George is a land-based Navy fighter. Right, okay. That's fair enough. Now, I forget how it goes. I think we will have a replacement CV fighter. I can't remember which one it bloody is now. It's been a while since I've looked at the R&D, so we do have a plan. I've just forgotten it now. It's been... I think it's been over a... I don't know. I think it's been a... Has it been a year yet? I think it's been a... I think we had a year anniversary. So it's been at least a couple of months since I've last looked at the R&D for the most part. A lot of these things you're just like, right, okay, we'll get there. It's just going to be quite a few months before we do get there. But last we did have the Yamato arrive, which is quite nice. And speaking of that, I actually need to go ahead and take a look at shipyard. Yeah, we do have a pool there. Mass production is 1384. Oh, wrong one. So we do have a nice surplus there. I need to download the actual tracker again. That'd be super, super handy. We do have Hio, who will be available in, let's see, 65 days. Nice. I'm looking forward to the Nizuki. She came in with radars, very nice. We've had her accelerated for some time now. It's amusing, isn't it, the things that you do for radar and the IJ. Sorry, IGN. Is it hover? I love when it hovers and it tells you that sort of class. I wish it did it permanently. That'd be nice. She doesn't have radar. Maybe it might be an upgrade then. Available to that one when it arrives. Just wish we had more cruisers. I don't know. More Yodos would be quite nice. Yeah, we do just get the 1 Yodo, I think it is. It would be nice if had more. They do look very sexy. New depth charges. I think the best we get is a Type 2. I'm not sure, actually. What about squid? I'm not familiar, really, to be fair. I think the best we get is a Type 2, but I'm honestly not too sure. Ours are never going to be as good. Unless there's something I'm missing. I think the Type 2 is the best we get. There could be something later on, but I'm just not aware of. But yeah, Depth Air Force 76. There's one of those, really. They can't dive in shallow. Well, they can, but shallow means that any old crap can hurt them, which isn't very nice. Alright. Okay. Oh, okay, that's good to know. Yeah, same equipment, but obviously just calibrated for a deeper depth. And okay, that's good to know. Alright. I'm moving forces out over here, then we do have the 2 divisions. 1 regiment will remain here, but we'll have the regiments move out to cover these bases for the most part. Again, I'm surprised he hasn't done anything here. And we will have Burma strengthened in the relatively near future. Do have the Thai forces marching into China. Now, when they actually get up to full strength, that's going to be about 1,000 AV. You can see it's 888, but it will be Hachi Hachi. Hachi Haku Ju Hachi Hachi, I think. Hachi Haku 800. Ju Hachi Hachi. I think, yeah. So Hachi Haku Ju Hachi Hachi. I think. I'm probably saying it wrong. I never got around to more advanced Japanese counters and numbers. So maybe they have a different way of saying it. They probably have a different way of saying it, in fact. Yeah, they have a different way. I can't remember what it is right now. Anyway, so I'll have 1,000. 1,000 Sen? I think which one is. Or is it Man? I think Man's 10,000 and Sen might be 1,000, or Sen might be 1,000. Either or. I forget which one it is now. I'm going to have to look back into that. So yeah, they'll take up garrison duties over here. That'll be fine. But we'll call it about here. We'll take a look at San Francisco before we do Yorman. Yeah, lots of nice, tasty ships there. Interesting. Quiet day, but that's not bad. It gives us time. We do have the Zero Group over here recovering. The morale of the squadron is an interesting thing. I think what we're going to go ahead and do then is... so these are going to be ready tomorrow. As we likely will have the squadron rotated back over to this way, and essentially given the ability to rest. Well, given time outside of battle does help. I think you have to have them on rest to actually recuperate morale, but I'm not too sure. But morale can be rebuilt. It's just we'd like to change them out with squadrons, like these ones over here, like for example 94, 66. Well, 66 could do with being up there, 89. I'll have to take a look at the morale aspect. I believe it's something that we should take a note of. I need to remember how it actually impacts on them. But as they lose men, well, as they lose aircraft, their morale does decrease. But if we're still seeing 17 here, then that's manageable numbers. We aren't seeing carriers right now, which is interesting. But we'll see. I mean, he could have moved his carriers out from here. Or he'll... I don't know. It's hard to say. I do not rank R. Not yet. Literally just about to finish up here, so... Thank you very much for watching there, ladies and gents. Hope you've had a great time. And I will see you again in the future. And it will be in the near future this time, so... Arigatou gozaimasu. See you next time. Like the video as well, that'd be much appreciated, and potentially consider becoming a patron. That'd be awesome. Or even a single PayPal donation would be nice. Just £1 goes a long way. I I have to buy coffee. That's really helpful as a student. Until next time. Ja, sayonara.